Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning, October 6th, 55 degrees. We're in the back, getting ready to go for our walk. Such a warm day. Yesterday and today yesterday was really warm. It was like 80 degrees. Today's going to be another warm day, but I was gifted some tomatoes and I want to make tomato soup. I'm still on my weight loss journey, walking almost every day still have 16 pounds to lose. And it's just absolutely beautiful out here. Let's go enjoy this nice October morning. Found these benches, perfect spot for a break. Just under 2 miles. So peaceful. It's good to be in the shade. I was sweating like crazy. You can see the line. Yeah, it's so hot in the sun. I gotta figure out where I am. I've been walking for a while. I don't know how far down the path I am, but there's a road crossing here, so easily figure that one out. Let's see. Oh no, are you okay? I think you fell on your head. Yeah, I walked a little too far down the rail trail. I popped out on the main road. I just get lost in all the beauty. A friend of mine gave me these tomatoes yesterday, and I took them home and I washed them, and I noticed some of them were starting to go bad, which is a shame because in a couple of days it's going to be really chilly. I think the high is going to be in the 50s. You know, that'll be the perfect weather to make some soup. But these tomatoes have a different plan. They were picked about a week ago, she said. Yeah, some of them are starting to get pretty squishy. So I'm going to turn them into soup. It'd be a shame to let these go to waste. So I have my oven preheated to 425 degrees. This is only the third time that I have ever made tomato soup. So if you have any tips or tricks, or you can see a way for me to improve my tomato soup, please let me know in the comments. I'd really, really appreciate it. I'm just quartering the smaller ones. I have a mix of Roma tomatoes from my friend, and I have 4 vine ripened tomatoes. I don't know. I don't think they're beefsteak. They probably something else. But I have about just a little over 3 pounds worth of tomatoes altogether. So after I quarter them, I'm putting them into an 11 by 15 baking dish. I've been researching online uh, different ways to make tomato soup, and roasting them seems to bring out the flavor pretty good. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be roasting these with some uh, peppers and onion and garlic. And I'm really hoping that by mixing the two different varieties, it gives it a better flavor. That seems to be the census online as well. I wish I had enough space here to grow my own vegetables. Last year, I no, was it last year? I don't know. I forget. It was either last year or the year before. And I tried to grow tomatoes in a pot, like a planter. And it did not go well. It did not go well at all. They all wound up, I don't know if it was a fungus, but they look like they had like rot, like every single tomato looked like it had rot on it. They weren't good. I even tried, slicing that part of the tomato off and tasting them, and they were not good. Not good at all. Yeah, this yellow pepper was strange. It looked like the seeds inside were already somehow starting to germinate, growing little peppers inside my pepper. I don't know. I just took all that stuff out, sliced it up, added to my tomatoes. So when I was doing my research on different recipes for tomato soup, because like I said earlier, this is only my third time making it. So some of the recipes would put in a couple of carrots. Some of the recipes would use bell peppers. So I was digging around in the fridge and I found these two bell peppers that really needed to be used up. They were starting to get all wrinkly. And I always save my onion peels and my garlic peels, almost all of my veggie scraps. Because, like I said, we're on a budget over here and we're all about saving every penny. So I just keep a bag in the refrigerator, a plastic bag, or sometimes I'll use a mason jar. And every time I'm peeling, cutting up vegetables, I just add all the peels and the scraps, the odds and ends into the bag. And then once I have enough of them, I just put them in a big pot on the stovetop, add some water, a bunch of spices and herbs, and I make my own stock. I just let it simmer on the stove for a couple hours. I keep tasting it, add a little salt and pepper at the end, and you have homemade stock. You can freeze it, you can can it, you can freeze it. I usually freeze it. I just pour it into ice cube trays, and you can use it for so many different recipes when you're cooking. I'll be using dried herbs because over here the fresh ones are still pretty expensive. So I'll be using all dried herbs today. We'll be doing some parsley, basil. I put in some rosemary and oregano. And then for spices, I use some ground black pepper, salt, smoked paprika, and some red pepper flakes because I like it spicy. I also added probably a tablespoon of tomato paste. And then I added two 14-ounce cans of fire roasted diced tomatoes. I mixed that all up and then I let it roast in the oven for 45 minutes. And it was about this time I felt something crawling up my leg. And I looked down and there was a woolly bear climbing up my leg. It must have crawled underneath the screen door. I have one of those magnetic screens for the back door. He was so cute. So I put him back outside. And once the vegetables were all done roasting in the oven, I transferred them into my Dutch oven because we're going to be blending it up with an immersion blender. So I dumped that in and I added 3 cups of vegetable stock. I also put in 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. Almost all the recipes online were adding balsamic vinegar. I'm not exactly sure what it did. I think it's to give the soup a more complex flavor. I wound up adding more basil and rosemary, and I also added in about a quarter cup of sugar because it seemed pretty um, acidic. And then I used my immersion blender, blended it all up. It's not the best immersion blender for making creamy soups, but it works. Oh, and I didn't let go of the button in time. I sprayed it all over my stove. And I also added in a half a cup of almond milk. I'm going to make some homemade croutons to put on my soup from this baguette. So I just sliced up a little bit of it, cut it into bite sized pieces, and I put it on to a baking sheet. I sprayed just a little bit of oil and I seasoned them up with some garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and some parsley. And I like to use the spray oil. I can control how much I'm using. It makes it easier to control how much oil I'm adding to my food because you know that health journey, we got to keep the fat pretty low. So I put them into a 350-degree oven, toasted them up for probably 10 to 12 minutes, I would say, and they were perfectly crunchy. So the soup actually turned out pretty good. I would say probably about an 8 out of 10, but it did have like a really strong bite to it. I'm not sure, maybe I should have not used cloves of garlic. Maybe I should have used 5 or 4. I'm really not sure what happened. So if you know, please let me know in the comments because this was good. I want to make it again, but I want to make it better. It's still really super hot, but I can't wait anymore. Mm, that's so good. So that's my version of a roasted tomato soup. It's a healthier version, but it doesn't taste healthier. Mm. I hope you make a tomato soup. Thank you for watching another video, and I will see you again on the next one.